Welcome everyone. In this presentation, my teammates Alex, Xavier, Justine, Savannah, Maëlle, and I, Lisa, who are focusing on Ardene, a prominent Canadian fashion retailer. Our discussion will be structured around four key areas. Firstly, an analysis of Ardene's current situation, followed by an examination of their strategic directions, then a look into their tactical implementations, and concluding with a brief summary of our findings. Our goal is to present a clear and concise overview of Ardene's approach to the international markets. Let's begin. We have conducted a comprehensive situation analysis of the Ardene company. This analysis included examining Ardene's collaborators, competitors, clients, its existing geographic market, and the overall context in which it operates. After synthesizing our research, we can distill our findings into primary categories: the internal and external elements of Ardene. Let's start with the internal elements of Ardene. Ardene is a Canadian brand established in 1982. The company offers a range of accessories, jewelry, clothing, and shoes. Ardene is led by the Dervishian family. As of 2019, Ardene generated revenue of 432 million Canadian dollars. The company operates around 400 stores across Canada, United States, and the Middle East. Ardene is known for its diverse and affordable fashion with a significant focus on sustainability. Let's move to the external elements of Ardene. Ardene operates in the fashion retail industry, classified under Nike's code 4581. The company is navigating a shift towards digital platforms and sustainability. Ardene has experienced growth in the United States since 2015 and expanded into the Middle East in 2016 using licensing partnerships. Ardene key competitors include H&M, Y&M, and Groupe Dynamite. Ardene primarily targets a young, trend-conscious demographic. The company faces challenges due to the cultural and economic variation across different regions.
Now that we have analyzed Ardene, we can identify the different criteria for finally choosing the market we want to enter. For the how, we consider that licensing would be the best option, as this is what the company is already using in its current market. For the who, we chose to target urban women aged from 15 to 25 who love fashion, as they represent Ardene's main market target to date. For the where, we have identified three markets in which we think it would be interesting for Ardene to establish a presence: Sydney, Mexico City, and Cairo. We will therefore detail the comparison criteria we used to select the most appropriate city in which to set up an Ardene boutique. For each of the geographical market options, we have identified the criteria that we consider important in qualifying our ideal market in terms of distance, demand, and competition. In terms of distance, the clothing industry is not a very risky one, where clothes and accessories can represent a threat to the consumer. However, we can consider the cultural distance concerning the sustainability awareness of the inhabitants of each country. As Ardene is a fast fashion brand, the ecological awareness of its potential customers is important to consider, as such a brand might not be attractive to ecologically conscious people. What's more, when it comes to religion, we found that all countries have Christianity as their main religion, except for Egypt, which is predominantly Muslim. This could potentially have an impact on Ardene, as religion can lead people to dress differently. The clothing industry is sensitive to administrative distance. A trade agreement could make it easier for Ardene to trade and expand in another country. There is the CPTPP between Canada and 10 other countries in the Indo-Pacific region, including Australia. Mexico is part of the Canada-US-Mexico agreement, the world's largest free trade region. Egypt does not appear to have a free trade agreement with Canada. In terms of geographical distance, our distribution center is located in Canada, Mexico being the closest of the three geographical markets of market options. Freight and transport costs would be lower than in Australia, and Egypt is quite far from Canada, but close to Ardene stores in the Middle East. Finally, in terms of economic distance, wages vary from one market to another and are a major factor in the cost of operating expenses. Australia has a very high minimum hourly wage, higher than Canada. And next come Mexico and then Egypt with low hourly wages. We have therefore assigned the following scores to the various options according to the different criteria. We can conclude that Mexico is by far the best option in terms of distance. To assess demands, we can first analyze the size and growth of the apparel market in each of the three cities compared. The data is presented on the slides. For example, we can see that Australia has the highest apparel market revenues. However, Egypt has the highest CAGR, demonstrating the potential of the apparel market. Women's clothing represents the largest market segment in Australia and Egypt, but not in Mexico. In terms of average volume per person, Australia has the highest figure. We have also chosen to consider the fashion purchasing power of the inhabitants of these different cities, and Australia ranked first out of the three cities. To estimate the number of potential customers, we can estimate the number of women aged between 15 and 25 living in each city. Following our research, we were able to identify 300K potential customers in Sydney, more than 600K in Mexico, and 800K in Cairo. Finally, given that Ardene generates a significant volume of net e-commerce sales, we can also consider the online share of the fashion retail market, which is highest in Australia, followed by Mexico and Egypt. We have therefore assigned the following scores to the various options according to the different criteria. And this time, Egypt has the highest score and is therefore the most attractive option in terms of demands.
Regarding competition, it's important to consider the ones present in these cities and their market share to assess the competitive environment in which Ardene could possibly operate. So the competition in these three cities that we're comparing, we decided to consider the main players in the fashion industry in each city, as well as their market share. So in Australia, the main competitors are shown on this slide, and they represent about 70% of the market share, which means that only 5 brands occupy a huge part of the market. For Mexico, the 5 major brands present a total market share of 32.2%, which is not enormous and gives a place for Ardene to operate in Mexico City. Finally, in Egypt, the major players in the apparel industry are are Zara, Adidas, Bershka, H&M, and Mango. We could not find their market share, so we consider it as a neutral. So we therefore assign the following scores to the various options, to the different criteria. So Mexico has one more time the highest scores. So in conclusion, in the decision matrix, we decided on the importance of each decision factors and give them a greater or lesser percentage. We consider distance to be the most important factor, considering then making the final choice of geo markets because of the cultural, administrative, geo, and economic dimensions have a direct impact on the cost and the risk that will be incurred. So we therefore allocated a percentage of 50% for the first one, and then 30% for the direct impact on the demand factor. And then we assign a weighting of 30% on 20% on the competition factor, because in our view, it's not a determining factor. So finally, as you can see in this table, Mexico City has the highest score with 4.22, with almost every high score in each decision factor. So it's clear that Mexico is the most attractive one currently. So finally, we can see that we identified the 3 strategic decisions that we made using licensing partnership as a mode of entry, targeting 20 urban women aged 15 to 25 years old in Mexico City. So that's the most appropriate geographic target for the next step in Ardene's international expansion.
So now that we presented to you the strategy for Ardene, now here's the tactical implementation of this strategy. Let's start with the product and services policy. So first, the products. We know that the main products that Ardene are proposing are clothing, accessories, and shoes. we know that it's really costly to change the whole production just for this country. So what we suggest is just to select the offering you're gonna offer in this country, to take like the different climate in consideration, and then to create a small special collection with the colors of Mexico. You could partner with a local artist that could design with you this collection when you open the store. Regarding your name, logos, and all the colors you're using, you could standardize it, since there's no really bad connotation in Mexico regarding these aspects, and you already kept them when you entered USA and Middle East. But you really need to adapt all of your packaging and language on your website, social medias, and all your communications, since you want to accommodate your new Spanish-speaking customers. Then regarding the old service of Ardene, for the process, you really need to look into the payment methods that could vary in Mexico, as well as the flow of people in the store. So you need to look at the configuration of the store to make it better for the customers. Then for the training of your employees, it's really important to train them well to the culture of Mexico. Customers there are used to a certain type of service that you want to recreate for them over there. And for the store in itself, you really need to have an atmosphere that is really comforting and where customers are at ease. So once again, you could partner with local artists to design the store, have like Mexican music, and also you really want to accommodate to local festivities as they celebrate, for example, El Día de los Muertos, which you would want maybe to have like sales offers and promotion for these festivities.
Great. Now for the price policies, we recommend that you adapt your prices. Actually, we want you to upgrade your prices from 10 to 15% higher in Mexico for each product that you'd be selling. And there's 4 reasons why. First of all, the prices. As you can see on the graph, the Canadian-Mexican exchange rate has decreased in the past 3 years, and more importantly, in the last year. That means that each dollar that you'd be making in Mexico will bring less value in Canada afterwards if the tendency remains. Increasing your price will then compensate for that aspect. Also, your competitors have also increased their prices in the Mexican market. As you can see, H&M and Zara have both increased their prices from 16 to 22% for regular product like t-shirt or blazers, for example. Another thing is the demand. You can see that the demand for the apparel market is way higher in Mexico than in Canada. That means more opportunities, more clients, and more money to be made. Setting your prices higher shouldn't impact the demand very much, but you gotta be careful. Considering the fact that the fast fashion industry is very sensitive to prices, you don't want to set them that high to lose market share. Fortunately for you, the Mexican have a higher price willing to pay for your apparel products, so you have a larger range that you can work with. That is why we think that 10 to 15% upgrade on your product and your price should be enough to keep your margin high and gain notoriety as well.
Expanding into Mexico through franchise licensing is an important part of Ardene's distribution strategy. To succeed, Ardene must find franchise partners who understand the Mexican retail landscape, consumer behavior, and have experience managing international fashion brands. Ardene has identified Grupo Axo as an ideal partner in Mexico. Grupo Axo is a leader in brand management and retail distribution in Latin America. They manage brands like Victoria's Secret, Guess, Hollister, making them well-suited to introduce Ardene to the Mexican market. Grupo Axo experience with international brands also means that they can help navigate the complexities of bringing Ardene's products into Mexico efficiently, minimizing delays and ensuring a smooth entry into the market. Ardene already uses freight forwarders to enhance its supply chain efficiency. Acting as an agent in Ardene's logistic network, freight forwarders can manage cross-border commerce between Montreal and Mexico directly. This simplifies the process and ensures product reach retailers without unnecessary stops. Ardene distribution strategy prioritizes speed in delivering the latest fashion trends to consumers. They should, and already use, marine transport as it's cost-effective and reliable for bulk shipments. Air transport is chosen for time-sensitive shipments, allowing Ardene to respond quickly to the market demands and ensure the latest fashion arrives on shelves with minimal lead time. By leveraging both methods, Ardene creates a dynamic supply chain that efficiently reaches fashion enthusiasts in Mexico.
In terms of promotion policies, we decided to adapt to the local conditions, since we want to fulfill the needs of the local population because we value their culture and their opinions. So for advertising, we will utilize popular Mexican media channels for advertisement and consider multiple online platforms. Our presence must be known by other brands for future partnerships, so that's why we'll make an appearance at the 2024 fashion trade show in Mexico. After that, for personal selling, we'll train the sales rep in our stores to understand and appreciate the Mexican fashion preferences. Public relation is also very important when entering a new market. So we'll engage with the Mexican fashion influencers and collaborate on PR campaigns. Sales promotion will also try to align them with Mexican holidays and festivals to capture the local audience attention. And finally, we'll customize their marketing with the Spanish language content and visual that appeal to the Mexican aesthetics. Ardene's message is really important and needs to be translated accordingly to the Spanish language, ensuring its culturally relevancy and keeping it aligned with the Mexican nuances.
So now is the timeline to implement all of these tactical implementation in our strategy. So we suggest you to begin as soon as possible, early 2024, to contact Axel Group, as Savannah presented earlier, to be sure they are aligned with our vision, to sign a contract with them, knowing like their responsibilities with Ardene. Then it's really important to select the great location for the store. So we really want to have a store that is in the city, near our main customers. So as we said, young women, and also near our main competitors to be really aggressive on the market. And then once we find the store, we can begin with the collaboration with the local artists, as I presented earlier, for the new collection and also for the design of the store. Then we need to begin the collaboration with influencers, as Xavier just presented, fashion influencers from Mexico. And we need to then find our team of salespeople for the grand opening to be at the beginning of 2027. So at the same time, the physical store and also the digital store online with our website. So we need to be sure that all of the translation is made before this date. So now a brief summary of what we just presented to you. So we really recommend to you to internationalize Ardene in Mexico City, because as my colleague presented earlier, there's a great opportunity for you to capture a lot of new customers over there through franchise licensing, which is a strategy you're already using and is working really well. Targeting young women who wants to express their style, since it's your main target for many years and it's really working well for you. And never forgetting to adapt to local cultures and norms in Mexico, since Mexico has a whole different culture from what you're used to if we compare to Canada, US, and Middle East. So thank you very much for your listening. I hope you liked it.